It's Super Centex Podcast time. Bryce, Michael, Chad, gentlemen, good to see y'all.
Likewise.
Good morning.
Yeah, the playoffs have commenced. I mean, you guys were both at games last night. By district action in girls hoops began.
You know, it's our first sport of the year. And I never really had thought of it this before, but it's our first sport of the year where you have boys and girls playoffs coming rolling at you. You know, You got football playoffs and volleyball, but it's different sports and they're different, a little bit different timing. But now you've got, you know, kind of a rolling holiday, if you will.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, girls playoffs started last night, Monday night, as we record the pod. By next Monday, the boys will be in full swing. Were there any surprises that jumped out at you from opening night of the girls' playoffs, or any outcomes maybe that caught your eye?
Well,
go ahead.
Oh, sorry. You prep for a game and you go, okay, well, the second place or first place team versus fourth place team. So I pretty much know how this is going to go, and you plan accordingly and whatever. And then you show up and Hamilton just, thumps Bosqueville pretty good. And it was a very interesting, very competitive game for a long time because Bosqueville had a 10-point lead in the first half and was very much scrapping, staying within a possession or two for a lot of the third quarter. But Hamilton, which finished fourth and which didn't really come close to beating the top three teams in their district, which were Lipan, Santo, and Heiko. I think their closest game was maybe like a 12-point loss to Heiko. Mm-hmm. But it kind of makes you go, wow, I wonder what the rest of that district is going to look like, because Hamilton played like really good. Like, I don't want to go over the top, but their guards in particular, Anna Piercy and coach's daughter Avery Arledge, were both, excellent and athletic players, and Avery Arledge had kind of a launch, almost like a Steph kind of launch 3-point shot, and it was way off in the first half or first quarter. And that's when Bosqueville took the lead. But then when it started going in, man, it didn't stop going in. And they scored 25 points in the third quarter. And you don't see 25-point quarters in girls basketball very often. Even boys high school basketball, it's not probably a rarity. But so, yeah, Hamilton, that was a surprise. And I kind of think I made Coach Arledge bristle a little bit, because I was like, what's going on here, man? You're 16-12. You're not supposed to roll over a number one seed in the playoffs like this. So
hang on, let me jump in there real quick.
Okay.
Anna Piercy, of course, 4 for 4 on state cross country titles. She's been on that state cross country team at Hamilton since she was a freshman.
Yeah.
So knows a little something about success.
Yeah, they're
Chad,
doing in Hamilton.
Yeah, Chad, you and I were talking about it last night. I mean, what an athletic year it's been. I mean, you win girls cross country. The volleyball team was really good.
Regional finalist, yeah.
And then obviously you win state in football. That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, that's kind of how I bailed myself out of making Coach Arledge upset. I was like, obviously, you guys didn't you had a late start in basketball. Is that the reason? I mean, but like I said, they were 16-12, and
well, I was just going to jump in and say, look, they might have been 16-12 overall, and I don't know exactly what their district record is, but that district, 1 through 4 went 4-0 last night. I mean, that district with Lipan, who's number 6 in the state. Santo beat a really good Crawford team. That one surprised me a little bit. I had seen the Crawford girls, and they were coming off, I think, a regional final run last year and brought some key pieces back. They were a little younger this year, but I watched them this year, and they beat Bosqueville, I think, twice. And that's a good Crawford team. And they lost to Santo in the first round. Heiko, as you mentioned, Chad, was another team that won, and then Hamilton too. So, Hamilton's overall and district record might not look the best, but that was a hard-hitting district that they kind of went through to get to this point.
I think when you're talking about small school Um, Girls basketball. It feels like the further you go west, the
Hmm.
better it is. Like
It really is.
Until you get
I,
to the Nazareth Swifts, and it doesn't get any better than the Nazareth Swiftettes.
right. I mean, I'm making a generalization here, and maybe I don't have any
Mhm.
data to support this, but it just feels that way that uh like the further west you go, there's some really salty girls basketball
Well,
schools.
if you dive into the history of girls basketball in this state, it the genesis is out west. I mean, and there were
Mm.
years when all five of the state champions came from West Texas, and of course, uh, I trust both of you know about the Wayland Baptist Flying
Oh
Queens and
yeah.
all of that, you know, and just so many big name West Texas programs, and as I mentioned, Nazareth is still kind of carrying that torch for that region.
No
Yeah.
doubt.
Hey, one
Michael, how
more.
about
Well,
you?
yeah, one more surprise from opening night that I thought caught my eye. The Gatesville girls not only winning a coin flip to host a playoff game versus Marble Falls, but I mean, Gatesville was the fourth place team coming out of 23 4A, and I think they were what they had like 8 wins on the year and maybe won 3 district games. And I mean,
Hmm.
but we know how good that district is with la-vega at the top, Lorena
Hmm.
right there. Robinson is scrappy. You know, even the Connollys and China Springs are solid teams too. And Gatesville comes in there, and I think Marble Falls was the second place team coming out of that district. And Gatesville, wins by 2, and I'm sure having that home court advantage helped. But I mean, if you would have asked me before that game who I thought was going to win, I wouldn't have picked Gatesville, and that's nothing against them. I just think that they were more so kind of limping into the playoffs as opposed to being a legit, area round caliber team. But I think that goes to show what going through a brutal district can do.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
played Lorena like a 45-42 game a couple weeks ago.
Mm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for Gatesville. That's a good win.
Hmm.
Every win in the playoffs is a good one. And that's kind of a good segue. So I think last week on the pod we mentioned Big Shot Bob, Robert Ory, um, one of the one of the great playoff performers in NBA history. Um, Other guys who have similar nicknames are Big Game James, James Worthy, Mr. Clutch, Jerry West, and then Mr. Big Shot, Chauncey Billups. And all gained those labels because of what they did in the playoffs, coming up in the clutch. So, other than Fairfield's Blayke Brackens, who we've talked a lot on this pod about,
Right.
it's too obvious an answer. Who are some of the clutchiest Central Texas players? Who's like capable of being a big playoff hero?
Well, I want to preface this by saying that, you know, I grew up on the main streets of Woodway, and so a lot of my focus, therefore, is very much UIL public school. That's a lot where a lot of my attention is focused most of the time. But I got to say, the TAPS state championships kind of have intrigued me going forward this year since I saw Live Oak play a
Hmm.
few nights ago in their home finale of the regular season, and Ogden for them.
Jocelyn
Duncan.
or Duncan?
Yeah,
Duncan
yeah, Duncan.
Ogden,
Yeah.
yeah. Uh, he's got that, you know, give me the ball with the game on the line type
Well,
of thing.
we're
Yeah,
talking
and
about Mr. 66, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so that game I mean, that sounds like just a video game type of night. But you know, when I saw them against Marble Falls Faith Academy, he didn't like score in the second half until they absolutely needed it with that in the final few minutes, and then he made big shots, and they won the game. And they're looking for their first state championship, and you when that's your goal, and you have a guy like that on your team, it makes you feel good about your chances of getting it, I think.
No doubt. I'll mention a big shot Bob similar type of player in terms of like this guy, maybe not like he's not your star, but he could hit some huge shots, and I've seen him hit some huge shots. Montre Mitchell at Rappaport. he hit some. I mean, this dude is a sniper. I've seen him get hot, and those coaches have told me. I think he holds some school records. He can hit 11, 12 threes in a game, like pretty easily, especially
Mm.
when teams zone him up and they just kind of get him over on the wing and swing it over. And I mean, he's got like, I don't know if y'all have watched like Klay Thompson's shot in slow motion. It's just beautiful, elbow in, everything looks right.
Mm.
Like Montre's got a shot like that where it's just, when that wrist flicks. I mean, it's a pretty looking ball with the spin and everything. And so Montre's a guy I think if Rappaport gets deep in the playoffs, he could maybe have a big shot Bob type of game or moment. But in terms of like more of a star player who I think could be clutch, and these two players have nicknames that could maybe rival Mr. Clutch or Mr. Big Shot, but Agent Zero, Rihanna Kinsey over
Mm.
at la-vega. I watched her last night, and you can just tell like when she gets into these playoff atmospheres, man, she is locked in and using everything in her toolbox to get to the bucket and hit some. I mean, she had a buzzer beater at the end of the second quarter that was, I mean, they kind of rolled the ball in. There was like 3 seconds left, and she used one or two dribbles and got to her spot at the left elbow and just kind of floated it up, and it was just pretty. And I think she could be one of those clutch players. And then another one on that team with the nickname C4, Samaria Kelly. I think she's got some clutch ability in her too. That when la-vega needs a bucket in some of these big games that we expect them to be in, I think those are two players that are going to step up.
So C4 could be explosive.
She could be explosive. She
uh,
she could detonate.
Agent Zero, of course, was also Gilbert
Oh
Arenas.
yeah, Gilbert
Uh,
Arenas.
Gilbert Arenas was quite the combustible player. Um,
He could score.
yeah, yeah. Um, but yeah, those are some great ones. Obviously, you guys have. I'll sort of defer to you guys on that question because I haven't seen enough of these kids this year. But um, so because the fans are so close to the action in basketball, I've always said that it's the toughest sport to officiate for officials. That's not the only reason, but that's a big reason.
Well,
Um,
and we live in such a football state that you go to a football game, shouting from the stands, the holding or this or that, and then a lot of times you hear people yelling from the stands in basketball, and maybe I don't know if it's because it's Texas and you go to these rural games, you think people don't watch a lot of basketball, right? Because they're yelling at the refs, and you're going that's not really the rule.
no, right.
Anyway,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. I've said it a million times. Uh, the number of times I've heard someone yell over the back and it's not been over the back is just infinite.
Right,
It's like,
right,
no, you don't know the rule. You can just get a rebound just because you're taller than someone. I mean, or bet
correct.
you can jump higher.
Right.
Well, anyway, I wasn't trying to break down officiating. For the same reason, because the fans are so close to the court, I feel like basketball leads to some of the best atmospheres at games too. Loud, rowdy, whatever. So my question is this: what are some of the best high school basketball environments you've seen?
Yeah, man. I'm really lucky to have come through Fort Worth, Texas at a time when the greats were still around. And I'm talking about Robert Hughes and the
Mm.
Dunbar Flying Wildcats and the Polytechnic Parrots were really good at that time too. I don't know that I'll ever see it again where you go into they had that Wilkerson Grinds Arena there in Fort Worth. It's basically TCU played there when they were renovating their basketball arena. That's what kind of facility it is for that high schoolers play in. It probably seats 3,500 or 4,000 people, but it's a true basketball arena, and you
Right.
go into those games and you had to get there earlier. You weren't getting in, and you were reporting on it. You dang sure got there early because there was going to be a lot of people there, and it was not going to be easy to get in the door. And man, those games! I mean, the way the Dunbar Flying Wildcats played, it, it's one of those things I'll be talking about for the my entire life because it was an experience, a high school basketball experience unlike any you've ever seen. I mean, I would be trying to keep stats and I'd write down a bucket and I'd miss the next bucket on the other end, you know?
Wow.
So,
Mm.
yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm gonna bring it back south a little bit, and obviously I don't have quite the extensive history covering the sport as you guys do. Not calling you guys old, just saying I'm young in this thing. But I will say, in my first
Burls.
year, no, in my first year covering high school basketball last year, I this game still just rings in my head, and I actually tweeted at Chad about this game
Hmm.
last night because he mentioned that Little River Academy has a pretty cool little gym, which
Hmm.
it is a very cool gym. I think it opened a couple years ago, and I was there for the la-vega game yesterday, and even just walking in there, and Rod ate a lot. Our trusty photographer was there with me, and we were even he was like bringing that game up that we went to last year, and this game being Marlin versus Hearn in the Class 2A Division One state semifinals. Man, Chad just mentioned you better get there early or you ain't getting in. This was one of those
Hmm.
games. The entire communities of Hearn and Marlin were at this game, and it was standing room only. It's a pretty good sized gym over there, and it was standing room only. People were even like there were some people who had to like kind of file onto the court and kind of stand off like on the baselines. I mean, I was sitting under one of the baskets covering the game. Like there was no, it was unbelievable. And it was just this back and forth battle between two really, really good teams that I think could, I mean, Hearn challenged Rappaport in that state championship game the next round. Marlin could have done the same thing. Maybe Marlin could have won it. I have no idea. But those were two of the best teams I've seen in a while. And like I remember telling both of those coaches from Marlin and Hearn after that game, like it felt like one of those just Class 5A or 6A, just intense battles.
Hmm.
Like it did not feel like a small school game at all. And just watching kind of, Jaden Womack for Marlin, just he's super shifty and tough and hitting these big buckets, and Darion Mitchell for Hearn, throwing down dunks, and like it was just one of the most unbelievable atmospheres you've ever seen. Every bucket just, caused an absolute eruption. And I love how the Marlin fans do the barking. I don't know if y'all have heard that, where they just start roof, roof, roof. They're barking after like if they go on a 10-0 run and force a timeout, they're just barking the entire timeout. Like it was just like it gives me
Cool.
chills to
I
this
didn't
day,
know
guys.
that.
It was no, it's crazy. Like if they have a good basketball team, those guys show out, man. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, I think you hit on something there. When you show up to a really great one, the the air just sort of crackles, you know. I mean, like you
Hmm.
could feel it from the start. People are getting there early. You're looking for a seat, you know. I mean, um, yeah, like the excitement is there ahead of time. Everybody's anticipating that matchup. Uh, I think of like about three off the top of my head. There was a year where Waco High had a really talented team with good point guard named C.J. Richards and just a really good starting five, um, and played uh, Brown Rock McNeil in the playoffs. And Brown Rock McNeil had A.J. Abrams, who went on to play at Texas, and he was really good. And that was the regional final. So Waco High was pretty close to making state tournament. And that was a great atmosphere. Um, I looked it up while y'all were talking because I was trying to remember who were the teams in this one, but uh, so I had remembered Hillsboro, but um, Hillsboro Conley played 2018 in the playoffs at West
Boys
and,
or girls?
boys, and
Boys. Okay.
it was because you're talking about uh, neither one had very far to go. It was a playoff matchup. Both teams had really good teams. It was so I looked it up. It was 80-75 Conley in overtime, and
Wow.
yeah, it was a great game. And I mean, you looked around, there wasn't a seat anywhere, and that West gym's a good gym.
Hmm.
It was a fun game. I covered that one, and then obviously I've got to mention last year University and Ellison.
I was gonna bring that one up.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh my
Man.
gosh.
yeah.
I
Holy
was
smokes.
sitting courtside. I did have a seat at the scorers table, and my friend Jason Phillips, who is an official, was sitting there with me. He was not officiating that game. He was just sitting there with me. And we were just like the whole time just going, this is insane, like one big play after another. And of course, it was just a wild back and forth game, heartbreaker for University. But
Triple overtime,
triple overtime.
regional final.
Yeah,
That
it
was
was.
yeah, that was fun just to watch on Twitter,
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to
So
keep everybody updated as much as possible, and it was just so crazy. I mean,
let me
it
let me
was,
just peel back the curtain a little bit, Bryce. We were I think you might have been with me, Chad. We were down in San Antonio
Mm-hmm.
covering what was it, la-vega and Fairfield that day, or
Mm-hmm.
on separate days or something in the state championship games. And like I remember like Chad Votherine from
Mm-hmm.
KWTX and I don't know if I can't remember who all else was in there, but Bryce, we were like actively keeping up with your tweets, just going, wait, it's in overtime. Wait, it's in double
yeah,
OT. Wait, triple
it
overtime.
was
Like we were going
truly a
crazy.
spectacle to watch. And
Wow.
I've also, gosh, I I mean, nothing will ever top the Midway softball girls, but uh, I mean, the University was pretty crushed after the game.
Naturally.
You know,
Third loss to Ellison that year, and it felt like that was the one they were going to get in the biggest moment.
yeah.
Um,
Man, that's tough.
Before we move on to the next thing, I just wanted just to show I don't have good old days syndrome too bad. That game at the dungeon this year, Michael, that was a
Oh,
pretty dang good
that
one
was a
too.
pretty good atmosphere
Mahia
too.
Fairfield in overtime and Kel Collins scoring. What was it? Ended up being 58 that night.
58 of their 82 or
And
81, something like
and it
that.
was
Yeah.
atmosphere as much as it was, action on the court because you had the Fairfield girls team hollering across the gym at kids they probably knew from Mahia, and
Dude,
it
Kel was
was
like talking to them during the game. He would like hit a bucket and look at them and smile and say like,
uh-huh.
told you I was going to do that or something. And
That's
it was
Mhm.
awesome. That's
hilarious. It was
awesome.
awesome.
Well,
Yeah.
truthfully, you could probably go to any random Mahia Fairfield game and you're going to get a pretty
True.
good environment. I mean, just
True.
Mhm.
like pick one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. So high school baseball season actually starts this week. We talked a little bit about softball last week. We had a season for the ages in 2025, culminating with Midway's Hidden Ball Trick State Championship, uh, a play that we've said frequently will go down in history. Um, who are some of the area teams and players that you're kind of excited to see play in 2026?
So I just looked this up. You guys know the only underclassmen on of the position players on our Super Syntax first team last year?
I have a
Underclassmen.
preseason Super Centex team, so I could probably tell you.
I
Uh,
don't know, Chad.
It was
That's a
Tyler
good question.
Sy.
Tyler Scythe.
Tyler
And
Scythe, yeah.
lest I go a whole episode without guys I know from Midway. Tyler's dad Ryan and I were in the same grade and friends in high school, and Ryan was a fantastic football player and baseball player. So he's a Midway baseball legacy for sure. So he'll be a fun one. He was a great outfielder last year, and
Yeah,
he's been a good wide receiver for them too. So.
absolutely. Yeah, great. I was just about to say, great two-sport athlete, and I mean, I had him ranked in the Centex 25 top
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
football guys,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
but while knowing that probably baseball was going to be his future, but
It is for so many Midway Panthers.
he's that
Yeah.
athletic, like he's that good.
Mm-hmm.
To be a really good 6A wide receiver and
Mm-hmm.
outfielder, a
Mm-hmm.
guy's athletic. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've got a couple teams I could throw out here. I don't know in terms of how much all of these teams are returning or bringing back, but one team I'm really excited to see what they're capable of is Whitney. They made it to a regional final, and
they got Kobe
I heard,
Haynes in the outfield.
yeah. And I was talking to his dad about that during basketball season this year, and I knew he had played baseball, but I wasn't really sure how good he was, and his dad was like, dude, he can play some baseball. He's a
Yeah.
good athlete.
Again, I've got him on the preseason Super
Hmm.
Syntex team. He
Hmm.
was I want to say second team last year, but
Yeah.
hit 393 with 21 RBIs. So
Yeah, for a football primary, basketball secondary, and maybe baseball third area, if that's a word. I mean, that's those are pretty good numbers. And Bryce, I think like his dad was telling me he really hadn't played much baseball like in middle school. He just kind of like went out there because he's a good athlete, and they just threw him in the outfield, and he ended up being a pretty good hitter too. But the one team I really did want to mention is China Spring, obviously coming off that state semifinal run last year. And again, I don't know, losing Dean Hanna, that's tough, and I'm sure there were some other guys on those teams too. But hey, they might be. China Spring has a pretty good tradition in baseball, and
oh
I
yeah,
think that's going to be that's going to be a team that's going to be good probably no matter what. So
arguably the best in Central
yeah,
Texas, I would say
really,
for
really
sure.
good, really good.
Maybe not even arguable. Um,
Right.
why? What are you saying, Jed?
I mean, I think the Central Texas baseball argument starts with the Midway Panthers, but
They have two
maybe
state
biased.
titles. China
Yeah.
Spring has, I don't know, about five.
Yeah,
Right, but
something like
but
that.
bigger school,
Yeah, no,
Right.
I get
how
it,
many
but
major leaguers does China Spring have?
China
You know.
China Spring, don't sleep on the Cougars.
Yeah,
Hey,
they can
all
ball.
respect to China Spring. I'm just saying major leaguers,
Mhm.
No, I get it. I get it.
decades and
Yeah, I get that.
decades
I get
of
that.
playoff success. So yeah.
I'll mention a few other kids and teams here. It'll be fun to see Bosqueville and Axtell on the 2A level.
Yes.
Obviously, a kid that we've known about since he was a freshman, was kind of a playoff hero as a freshman. Now a senior, Cooper Kent, uh,
Really good player.
excellent baseball player, going
Really
to
good
play
player.
at Sol Ross. Um, and then Axtell has, besides Cooper Kent, they've got some other players, including Fisher Blayke, who's a really
Hmm.
good pitcher. Um,
Dax Ferris, good little
yeah,
third baseman. Yeah.
right. Axtell has, of course, Ethan Porter, who was 11-1 last year, 0.94 ERA, and then Levi Leathers, again, another guy that has been kind of on our radar for a while.
Committed to Arkansas.
Yeah, committed to Arkansas to play baseball and just a junior still. I mean, so we get 2 more years of Levi Leathers. Hopefully he stays healthy. But
Yeah, he's got an injury to overcome currently,
Hmm.
right? Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
He's
I mean,
probably on the tail end of that
yeah.
recovery.
hmm
So Bosqueville Axtell would be a great matchup. I know Bosqueville is actually hosting early in the season
Hmm.
a really good 2A
It's like a showcase.
baseball tournament.
Yeah.
And so we'll probably get some word about that. But just a couple other players I'll mention real quick. Chad mentioned Midway. Brody Potts was, he was the hero
Man,
kind of the state game last year, other than the Drew Olmstead hidden ball trick. But Brody Potts was
unreal.
huge on the mound.
He was.
Um, and will be their ace this year. Um, Garrett Keaton, which Garrig, just a great baseball name. Garrett Keaton at Gatesville. And then we talked a little bit about China Spring, but they've got the Super Centex newcomer of the year coming back um, in Jacob Hinojosa. Uh,
Nice.
9-0, 1.25 ERA. So, um, you know, pretty good stuff. So,
Agreed.
well, we're always good in baseball and softball. We will be again this year. So that'll be fun to get out on the diamond and see some games. But we'll have other sports to cover too, soccer
Oh yeah.
and track and golf and tennis, all the things. So, we'll be busy throughout April and May for sure. But
That
anyway,
middle of June and those state championship softball and baseball will be here like that, won't they?
no, that's true. Blink and it'll happen. All right, you guys are headed to Corsicana, Texas tonight
Correct.
for a little Midway Waco High, right?
Yep.
Not each
Yep.
other, but
Right. But yes.
yeah.
Big challenges both, but we'll see what they've got.
Yeah,
Yep.
cool. Awesome. All right, thanks guys. See y'all later.